The show is about to start.
Only because I think it's appropriate after our explosive, sensational run that we had on Sunday at the Pontiac Nationals. So I learned a lot of it out as I can. And so I'm even going to go over why I think that our rod failed in our engine. And it's probably not what any of you guys are thinking. So anyhow, what's you don't have the parts here from our engine, do you?
No.
Bummer. I wanted to show that connecting rod bolt.
Oh, it was a clean break.
Yeah. So, but the thing of it is I'm not 100% sure that's where our failure was, but I'll discuss that with everybody tonight. So anyways, Eagle connecting rods get a pretty bad rap and are not abused, and there's many ways you can abuse them. They generally don't break. Connecting rods are not something that just breaks. Now, if you have a defect in it or something where you got a crack in the rod, you're not aware of it because part is. If it's got a defect, it's going to fail. And so, what I'm trying to say is that the Eagle connecting rod, the H-beam, now area of one of those. I have seen the cross-sectional area of an Eagle connecting rod, and it is a lot thinner than the power adder rod. So there's no doubt that the power adder connecting rod from Molnar is stronger than an Eagle H-beam 4340 rod. I don't know if Eagle even offers a power adder connecting rod. I don't know for sure, but we've used the Eagle H-beam connecting rods for as long as they've came out. I was probably one of their first vendors for that connecting rod. So the rods are good. I've never had any issues with them unless they've been abused or not used properly. It could be that it's not torqued enough, or it could be that it's over torqued. Either one of those situations is bad. And from what I've learned from all the bolt manufacturers I talked to this week, that the absolute best way to torque a rod bolt is to use a stretch gauge. And we're going to go into that a little bit too. And dadgummit, I know that I've done it exactly like this sheet has said. And I tried to find out from the ARP and Carrillo and Oliver. I've talked to them and trying to figure out if perhaps this was an issue that I created. But after speaking with all these people and talking to a couple engine builders, I don't believe it. And then what you do is release that tension and you check the rod bolt freestanding and make sure that it did not grow. And then you reinsert it in the rod with new lube and torque it back to, or not torque, but bring it back to the stretch that it needs to be at. So, and that's what we do. But you can have rod bolt failures, and I don't know how much of this stuff is being made overseas and how much is made in the United States anymore. I don't know. You can't keep up, and if you ask 10 different people, you get 10 different answers. So I don't know for a fact where all this stuff is made. You can assume that a lot of it's being made in China, but maybe some of it's here in the States. I don't know. ARP rod bolts, I believe, are made in the United States. But so with our engines,
Yes, it did.
but it didn't want it in the engine any longer. And so some of you guys, and I shared this on Facebook, some of you guys are saying that you thought it was an oiling problem, not sufficient oil. And so I don't discount that thought. So I try to look at things all different angles. I just offer my opinion, and then we can bounce ideas and try to figure a solution or figure out what the problem was. And so after talking with a good friend of mine, and he's an excellent engine builder today, he seems to think that it could possibly been an oil problem. And it's not the type of problem that you're probably thinking, like it's getting starved for oil. But what happened was we were one of the first ones in the staging lanes that day on Sunday morning. So we did not warm the engine up at all. He jumped in the car, took it to the staging lane, shut it off. We were like 5 cars deep, so he fired it back up, let it run to get up to the staging lanes, but that was probably not enough time to get oil temperature up. And so what ended up happening was...
the engine had heat in it, but the oil wasn't at operating temperature.
No, we did not get the oil up. And it is absolutely critical that you have the oil at operating temperature. Now, you're going to get variable opinions on that. I like to see the oil around 180 to 200 degrees. Some guys would say 140, 150 on the oil. It hasn't had time to heat up and thin out. And because of that, now we have an oil flow problem. And that's probably what caused our failure. And some of you had mentioned on Facebook that it turned the rod journal black, indicating an oiling problem, and I agree with that. I originally was thinking that possibly the one bolt broke here because we didn't have anything in the cylinder head area, no debris from a bearing. We didn't have any audible noise. The engine didn't even make any noise when it was going down the track. I listen to my engines all the time. It was not making any kind of a bearing type noise. So, but if you overheat the part, which we did probably because
in the burnout.
Well, maybe.
Because it stalled.
And we don't know why it stalled. Did it flood?
I don't think it did.
So you think that it possibly spun the bearing in the burnout
Probably
box?
spun the bearing in the burnout.
I did not hear it,
Because whenever I brought it up to 4,000 RPM, it was kind of going just a little bit, like I felt it. But I thought that was just me trying to keep, because I was trying to keep the RPM in the 4,000 range, and it was going, I couldn't keep it steady.
Yeah.
So I thought that might have been just me.
Well, it could have been, and so because we did turn that journal black and it turned the rod a little bit blue, what that thing was trying to do was trying to weld itself to the crankshaft journal. And probably, if you can picture what's going on inside that engine, the reason it snapped the connecting rod up by the piston was probably because it was trying to weld itself to the crankshaft journal, and it was putting side load on that connecting rod, and it literally just snapped it off because it wasn't able to turn on the rod journal on the crank, so it was forcing itself down, which is amazing it didn't screw up the cylinder wall. That's what's got me so baffled.
Just the very, very bottom of it.
Did you check the other side of it, inside there, or feel up in there?
Not yet, no.
Okay.
I need to get another tool from you to get the heads the rest of the way off.
Well, I brought that. I got a T50 bit. Is that what you want?
Whatever that T.
I think it's a T50.
Okay. It's either T50 or T55.
55 looked too big to me, but then it might be a 55.
Nope.
So anyway, that thing was trying to weld itself to the crank journal because the oil viscosity wasn't proper. The oil wasn't warmed up. So we didn't have proper lubrication. And so that rod actually grabbed the crankshaft. I honestly cannot still fathom how it shoved it out the oil pan and didn't hit the block.
Yeah, I don't know that.
I've never seen
because
that.
the piston is up inside the cylinder. It's not like the piston's like middle or even close to the bottom. No, it's up enough to where we think that it bent an exhaust valve.
Yeah, it did bend an exhaust valve. You can tell. You look down the row of valves, and that exhaust valve is definitely lower on that one.
So the piston's up.
Yep.
Not against the head right now. It actually is down below it. But I can see the piston in the spark plug hole.
Yeah. I hope it didn't hurt our heads. That's the only thing I'm worried about.
If it hurt anything, from what I seen when I was looking down into marks in the intake, Like something came up through the intake.
Week so we could show everybody what was going on there, but it ended up working out that we're going to be we're at our campground.
It's trying to keep up, but it's just a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, I don't understand how we can stream TV and a video game and phones
we
and.
have 12 devices connected regularly to Starlink.
And it doesn't have any
And I
issue.
took all of our devices
Doesn't even
off,
affect
look
it.
that computer right there, and it is bogged down. We're only pinging at like 75%. And we're at 99 usually.
Wow.
So
I don't know.
get it. I
don't
just
either.
don't
We're
get it.
hardwired in right now.
You guys know I don't like technology, so.
So I'm doing everything I can to make it as seamless as possible, but
That's because we're remote, so bear with us. Hopefully we can get, I can't see the screen, so I don't know what's going on.
no, it's literally the last time we did it was at 6:12, and now it's 6:20.
Okay.
It's doing it. So it's literally every 8 to 10 minutes. It
Is
does
that
it.
when it searches for a new satellite?
Apparently, I don't know.
So, but anyhow, we're going to talk about what connecting rod you should use for your application. And, like I said, I know a lot of people have their opinion on what manufacturer they like better than the other and what they think is best for certain horsepower application, yada, yada, yada. Connecting rods, in my opinion, are not affected so much by horsepower, except for in a boosted situation. Then they are affected. But for NA, I don't think they're affected by horsepower as much as they are RPM. If you can make 1,000 horsepower, 6,000 RPM, you could probably use a cheap SIR I-beam connecting rod. But if you're making that 1,000 horsepower at 10,000 RPM, not so much, because the connecting rod's tensile strength is just not there. It can't withstand that kind of, because you got to remember, the piston's going up to the top of that bore and changing directions like instantly. And when it does, it's yanking the piston back down, and that's what's hard on a connecting rod. And if you don't have a good enough connecting rod material or design, then you're going to have a problem with the connecting rod. It might pull it apart. But other than that, I mean, you know what? An Eagle H-beam connecting rod, they're fairly inexpensive, and they, I've used them in other engines besides ours for years now, up to 750, 800 horsepower, and we've not had any issues.
Well, here's my next question, because GTO George just brought it up. He shifts at 6,600.
Mm-hmm.
After watching that video, I don't know how much you got involved in watching the video or what when I posted it, but so the shift light is 6,600 is what it's set at. So when I shifted, you can hear the car first second over rev. Now
What, hitting the rev limiter, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Second to third, it's not hitting the rev limiter.
And but I noticed that you're a little bit slow on when you're shifting.
Right.
So probably what you should be doing is anticipating that light coming on and moving the lever, so by the time the light comes on, you know what I mean?
Well, that's why I was wondering if we can get like a 6,500 or 6,400.
We can.
That way when I shift, it will shift at the correct.
Right. Or we can, I like shifting gears manually, but we can get an air shifter or electric. They have an electric solenoid operated shifter too, and it'll just shift off the chip. Whatever chip you have in there, it'll shift.
Right.
But I like driving the car. You know what I mean? I don't like sitting in the car and just riding. I wanna drive it. So I like shifting. I like steering. I like doing it.
Well, yeah. I mean, that car drives so straight. I mean, I can shift it, no issue. But
Right.
I just looking at the light, the shift light, watching the RPMs, and then trying to keep the car straight, and then I'm trying to keep an eye on the oil pressure as well. I'm looking at so much
Right.
that whenever I take my eyes off for a second, and then I look and I'm like, okay, I'm getting ready to shift, and then all of a sudden the light's on.
Right. So you're just anticipating a little bit late, but that comes with experience. The more you drive it, the more you get
absolutely.
better.
But that's why I was wondering if we can get. I did look up the how to reprogram the chips and taking the resistors out and putting them in.
Yeah.
I don't have my phone on me. I took a picture of what resistance
For
you need
what
for
RPM?
RPM. Yeah.
Okay. That's all it is. A little resistor in every one of those.
And they're soldered in, and the guy showed you how to heat the ends up so you can pull them out with a pair of pliers.
Right.
And then you have to heat them back up to shove them back in. But
Right. Yep. Nope. We can do that. So that's where we're at with that. But the connecting rods are, I've used those things for a lot of years and never had any issues with them. Unless we have a bearing problem or we have a wrist pin seize up or something out of the ordinary happens. But the connecting rod itself usually does not fail.
Now, what would you say that those connecting rods, you think they're safe to go up to 7th thou?
Absolutely. You know what? I wouldn't be afraid to run that rod at 7,500.
It was an oiling issue. The oil wasn't getting there.
Yep. Well, I don't know if it was not getting there or if the viscosity.
Well, that's what I say. It wasn't getting there because it was too cold.
Well, it could have been that wasn't getting there. We'll know after we get the motor apart further, because you didn't get the crank out of it yet, did you? Yeah. So once we get the crank out, I learned something today. A good friend of mine, he's an engine builder. He showed me how to check and see if it was that.
Okay.
And it's real easy to check. And if it's on our crank, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show our audience. So.
Gotcha.
And if that's the case, then that was shame on us. We should have ran that car around the pits 3 or 4. That's why you see all them guys driving around the pits.
Well, right. And I figured, because I took the long way to the pits, but that apparently, because it got up. I didn't have the fan on, the water pump on when I drove through the staging lanes.
It doesn't matter. It takes a while for the engine or the oil temp to rise.
I know that, but I mean, I figured that'd be enough heat.
No, apparently not.
Because it got up to 170. And then I let it run without the water pump on, or I turned the water pump on in the staging lanes and let it run, and it stayed at like 160.
Yeah, that the engine temp might have been okay, but it's not really the engine temp we're worried about.
Well, the engine temp warms the oil up, so that's why I'm.
So lesson learned. What we're going to do is one of the other gauges we're adding, we're putting an oil temperature gauge in it, okay? And then that way we know what the oil temp is. We'll probably put it up there by the clear view filter when we add that.
Yep.
I don't know if that would be the best place or not. Maybe we'll put 2 in. We'll put 1 in a pan and 1 up there, and then we can monitor the oil temperature.
Oh, you're saying put a gauge off of that see-through.
Yeah, put it.
Gotcha.
Put it up there so that we can see the temp there and see the oil temp in the pan.
Well, because I want to see what it is in the car.
Because I think this was self-inflicted, and
it was a combination of a lot of things.
Well, the more I think about it, the more people I talk to, I think that at first I was thinking of rod bolt failed, and the black journal doesn't make a whole lot of sense, even though they turned black pretty quick. I think that the oil viscosity thing makes more sense to me. Because I looked it up, Valvoline VR1 racing oil, which we run.
Yep.
The recommended operating temperature for that oil is 212 to 305 degrees.
Oh shoot! I don't think we ever got to that.
And that's what I think. So that's what I'm saying. I think that
Holy crap, that's hot.
This was user error on our part. We didn't get the engine oil temp up high enough.
You hear that, everyone, now. If you are using VR1, because that's what it is, right?
VR1 racing oil.
VR1, Valvoline racing oil.
I think it's going to be that pretty much for any racing oil.
Well,
not just VR1.
I mean, because you run the 2050, so it's thicker.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you guys are running that, make sure you warm your engines up.
Yeah, absolutely. So, from now, I mean, it's kind of bizarre to me because when I raced a lot, we had Kendall GT oil. They called dinosaur blood back then. Actually, Pengrade or Brad Penn is selling the oil now, but it's not the same crude that we used to get because it used to be made in Pennsylvania. And now Conoco or somebody down in Texas bought the company, and the oil, the Brad Penn's being manufactured down there. I think now it's not being made in Pennsylvania any longer. And Pennsylvania supposedly has the best crude oil in the world. And so that's the refinery you want to buy your oil out of. And we had Quaker State come out of there. We had Kendall GT come out of there. There was a lot of different oil manufacturers. I don't know if Quaker
State gets theirs from there anymore.
I don't think that refinery's open anymore. I might be wrong. I don't know. Maybe one of our customers.
Yeah, that too. But It could have been they dried up.
I doubt that. We got big oil reserves in our.
Well, I'm
our
saying
country.
just that area. They probably moved to another area.
Yeah, I don't know. They sold out. Is what happened, and whoever bought it is not using the same crude.
But
I don't like Brad Penn anymore. I had bearing problems with that, and it wasn't because of heat. It was because of it was because of the heat. When the oil got hot, it broke it down too far, and we were spinning bearings.
I was wondering why you quit using that.
Yep.
Because I mean, you had boxes of that stuff.
Yep. And then we found out it was breaking down too bad.
What do you think about the Lucas Hot Rod oil? Is that as good as Valvoline, do you think? Because they have a 20W50.
Lucas is a great oil. Yeah. I like their products. We use their oil stabilizer.
Because it has a lot of zinc in it.
Well, yeah, and you want a high zinc. But more importantly, you need a performance oil for a performance engine. You can't go to Walmart or the local gas station and buy your oil for your race engine. You have to have a racing oil in it. And it's because the additive package, they put extra additives in there to protect the bearings under all operating conditions, hot, cold, lots of moisture in the oil, or, the alcohol, whatever. There's numerous reasons why you want to use a racing oil for your performance engine, even your street performance engines.
See, GTO George, I love this guy. He's old school.
Yeah.
He uses Brad Penn, and he reuses his oil all the time.
Yeah, oh boy. Yeah, but we don't want to listen to him. He spit it right out too.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
yeah, you know what? In George's defense, he probably doesn't get his oil real hot like I used to do with my car. I used to try to get the engine temp up. I would get my engine temp up to around 200. That way it'd warm the oil up.
well, I was scared to because it was so hot, and we didn't know exactly if that engine was going to run hot or not. So as soon as it got up to 200, I turned the pump and fans on.
Yeah.
And it went right back down. So I should have just let it warm up a little bit more, I guess. But
Well,
I didn't think of the oil viscosity, though.
lesson learned. We're learning together here. So, and like I was telling, Brandon at the shop, I said, it's hard for me to think about what I need to tell you to do because I do it, it's automatic. I mean, I've done it for so many times in a row.
Right.
It's kind of like you just don't think about it. You just do it. It's like whenever you get up in the morning, you grab your keys and get in your car and go to work.
Right.
You don't think about it. You just do it.
Well, I mean, I was putting heat in it. I just didn't know that. I knew I wanted heat. Mm-hmm. I know I needed heat. It had to be at least 150, 160.
Yeah, but you were looking at engine temp.
Yes.
Yeah. Instead of oil temp.
I wasn't thinking of oil temp.
Right. And what I used to do, if you remember, whenever we would get the car off the trailer, we'd bring it up we just let it sit there and run until it got up to 200 degrees, and then I'd shut it off, let it heat soak for a minute, and then I got in the car and I drove it around the pits. And that's how I warmed up the oil. And I didn't even think to tell you that because it just, to me, it was automatic, but you didn't do that before. You don't know. So now you know. So next time we go to the track, just make sure.
Now we need to run 10W40.
And negative. Negative.
It's only 10 off.
So for most of you guys that are watching tonight, those Eagle connecting rods are fine. I know a lot of guys are down on them, but they probably had other issues. And the biggest problem with our sport is ego. It's hard for people to admit they're wrong, especially in a testosterone-driven sport like drag racing or any kind of testosterone, boxing, arm wrestling. It doesn't matter. If you nobody wants to admit they're the weaker guy.
I don't care that I'm wrong. I care that if I keep making the same mistake over and over and over again.
The only way that's going to happen is if you don't admit you're wrong.
Well, I admitted I'm wrong. I knew I was over revving the car. I knew.
Well, I don't know that you were.
I was hitting the rev limiter. I don't know if I was over revving the car because we only had it set to 7,200.
Yeah.
And knowing what you know now, 7,200 shouldn't have hurt the rods.
No, it should not have hurt the rods.
So, but I was hitting the rev limiter.
There's a ton of big Chevys out there with that exact same connecting rod with the exact same journal size that we run, hitting 7,500, and they don't break them rods. So. Now, I don't know if they use an 8740 bolt or not, but now I'm not so sure if the bolt was the problem or not.
Well, it broke off right above the threads, and the bolt looks brand new.
Yeah, I know. It does look good. And so, it could have been the bolt was fractured too. I mean, this could have been a combination of things. The big thing I want you guys to learn from this, though, is the fact that, you know what, instead of blaming the engine builder, you have to look at the whole picture. And because it's, that's the first go-to in my industry. If the engine fails, immediately they think it was my fault. And the reason they say that is because they don't want to pay for it again. And even if they know they screwed it up, they still blame me because they don't want to pay for it again. And
well,
you know what? Well, you have to put your big boy pants on and admit it, and you just move on.
Yep. Well, what I would have done if I had bought that engine from you, went to the track, and that happened, my first thing would have been, I'm getting a beer, and I'm just enjoying the rest of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to take it back to the garage, tear it apart like we did, and see what happened. And I'd be giving you a call on Monday or Tuesday saying, hey, I hit the rev limiter every single time during the weekend, but the rev limiter is only set to here. And your first response would be, that shouldn't have done it.
All right.
And then I'd say, well, here's pictures. I'm going to take the engine to you. Let's look it over because...
Check it out.
something happened.
Right.
Let's figure it out.
Right.
And then, and I just know how you are. You would say, well, you know what? This could have been my fault, but I can't eat it all. Let's figure out something.
Right. Well, and if it is my fault...
Well, if it is your fault, I know you'd cover the whole thing.
Yeah, I just cover it. But you know what? And I've even done that before, and I shouldn't say that to everybody, but I have done it before when it wasn't my fault. The thing of it is that that's not the proper way to handle a situation. Why is it that I have to pay for something that was not my fault? That's the key.
It goes the same way for like customers. Why should you have to pay for it if it was my dad's fault? If you tear that engine apart and find out that the bolt wasn't even put in, then you know what? You shouldn't have to pay for it.
Right.
You call them up, but again, like my dad said, there's a lot of testosterone guys out there that build engines that will never accept.
They don't want to admit it, and they don't want to ever admit they're wrong. And whenever you have that mindset, you're always going to be at that level.
Yep.
You're never going to grow.
Well, and I think also too, that's why you have such a good customer and good fan base, because you take care, you admit, I screwed up. You show people, I screwed up.
Yep.
And
it's like what we shared with the Pontiac race.
Right.
I've had a couple of you guys even comment and say, hey, I can't believe you're even showing this. I know most people wouldn't even show it. Well, you know what? It is what it is.
Yep.
We're going to find out why.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah. I had to do the walk of shame, and you know what? I felt like crap more so. Yes, I blew up the engine that my dad built. My dad's going to have to pay money, and I'm working for it. Trust me. I'm not just saying, oh, my dad's paying for it all. He is paying for it all.
He's doing the labor.
But I'm doing the labor. But I had to do the walk of shame and tell everybody I felt horrible because I shut the track down.
Yeah.
Those guys were roasting in their cars because I shut the track down. I felt more worse about that, or way more worse, I should say, instead of way more better.
Way more better. So way more worse.
Way more worse for doing that than honestly breaking the engine. I mean, I felt horrible about breaking the engine, don't get me wrong, but
you better.
I ruined the day because they ended up calling it because of rain.
Yeah, I know.
So I ruined the day for a lot of people.
Hey, you might get a check because I think you would have been in the money.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, Uncle Paul was telling me that.
Yeah, I seen that on Facebook.
So you might get $30 check.
Yep. Which will go towards a new bolt.
So yeah, rod bolts. That's another thing too. The 8740 rod bolt is probably fine for, I would say 99% of the street car stuff, and I would say 50% of the race car engine stuff. Now there are different strength rod bolts, and that's for more clamping load, okay, and that's for tensile strength, and that's for RPM, not horsepower, RPM, and obviously piston weight. So
what about combustion, or not combustion, but what's the word I'm looking for? It goes with combustion.
Compression.
Compression.
Mm-hmm.
Is the higher compression the harder on those bolts too?
No,
because that's what drives the piston back.
Some of you might have seen these. I mean, have you seen pictures of connecting rods that look like pretzels?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well that's boost. You're not
Okay.
gonna be able to put enough compression in an engine to make a ride look
Gotcha.
like it.
All right.
The
Well,
only way that happens is if you hydraulic a cylinder and it's full of water and it tries to compress it, it'll
Okay.
fold the rod over. Or if you got a 90 pounds or 120 pounds of boost going into that thing, it's gonna fold the rod up.
well, yeah.
But other than that, no. I mean, for an NA engine to fold a rod over just running, I've never seen it. So,
Gotcha.
not saying it doesn't happen, I just never seen it. But yeah, so, you know, and you got different materials too for connecting rods. You got a 4140, you got a 4340, you have, what's some of them other ones that are out there? Of course,
4130.
aluminum and titanium, and but there's all kinds of different metals, and they're all have different tensile strength and weight. You know, that's another thing too. Connecting rods can get very heavy. A Molnar power adder connecting rod, I think, is about 30 grams heavier than an Eagle H-beam rod. And the reason is because if you ever seen a cross-sectional area, the center, you know, they are scalloped out on the sides, and that center piece in there on an Eagle's maybe that thick, and on a Molnar's like that thick. It's almost double, or it is double. So that's going to add weight to the rod.
Now, our pistons weren't very heavy.
No.
Because I see a lot of people saying something about the piston was heavy, like they thought it was heavy.
No, it is a DSS piston, which is not an ultra heavy piston like a TRW, but it's not an ultra lightweight either. It's probably around 500 grams.
It was fine for the application.
It's fine, yeah. You look at like the big Chevys, because a lot of big Chevys are big bore stuff. The piston was lighter than a big block Chevy, and a big block Chevy with that same connecting rod will rev 7,500 all day long with a 100-gram heavier piston.
Gotcha.
So now
And 100 grams is a lot.
that's a huge amount. And then you got the rod bolt, you know, so, and now again, that's the yanking strength or tensile strength is what that rod bolt's for. And, you know, an 8740, I think, is like 190,000 PSI. And a L19 is like 230 or 260, and the 2000's the other 230 or 260. I don't remember, 230,000 or 260,000. So, you know, the better material you use for the rod bolts, the more tensile strength, the more clamping force, the better it's going to sustain a high RPM situation. So there's a lot of factors. But, you know, for most of the guys that are watching our channel, although I did see we picked up a pretty sharp guy, I think it's called JD Engines or something like that. He's making comments on our stuff. Anyhow, he's pretty sharp, and I think that he had some good input on a couple of our videos.
If that's the one that he wrote a couple of times on the one video.
When I
know who
posted
you're
about
talking
the aluminum block and the growth from the bearing, or the heat in the bearings.
Okay, yeah. I can't remember exactly what he said, but I remember seeing it.
Yeah.
Because I was watching videos at work trying to get our views up.
Oh. Okay. Did you hear that? So whenever you're at work, turn your phone on, just watch our
That's
video,
right.
even if you're not watching.
Yep. I end up watching, but and then Perry, I think you're on something. Everyone was lining up in front of me except for Sunday. Every time I got to the staging lanes, it seemed like I was always in the back.
So that's probably why we didn't blow it up till Sunday. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm going to blame us on this one. I think that was operator error. I don't think it was engine assembly builder error. I think it was operator error. And we should have warmed our oil a little bit better. Especially after what I've seen with the, after reading about the oil viscosity with different temperatures from Valvoline.
So we need to get it up to what, 170 you said?
Well, I like to have it around 180 to 190. They say Optima is 212 to 305.
Oh, okay.
So,
So we got a bunch of gauges we got to put in.
yep. So we're going to do that. We're getting our chops busted on the dash, not having a dash in the car. And
Yeah,
all
no, the wires hanging down.
Yeah.
The wires are going to be gone.
So, so you're going to
I-
have to make some pieces parts on your 3D printer, and we're going to have to form some sheet metal, and we're going to make us a nice dash for that.
Well, I got aluminum,
Okay.
so we can make it out of aluminum if you want.
Yep.
And yeah, we can do that.
So we'll make it look decent. I want it to kind of look factory. You know what I mean? We'll have it kind of folded here and then have this side so it's like the gauges, you know, it's got the thing around the gauges.
Right.
And then the dash part over here, you know.
All right.
And then that way it kind of looks factory. You know, we can put a cover on top of it. I don't want it to get real heavy. You know,
No.
that's we want to keep the weight out of the car, but.
No, I definitely want to do like what Joe Bass does with his car, put a kill switch inside.
Yep, that's
Because I'll
for
tell you what,
sure.
guys, when that thing stopped and the smoke caught up with the car finally, I was sitting in the car for a good, I'd say, 10 seconds, and then all the smoke started filling up inside the car, and I had a no shit moment. I thought, oh, I'm on fire. So I got out of there as quickly as possible. And then when I got out, the smoke died down, and I said, "Oh, it's just the smoke blowing into the car."
We were lucky it didn't catch on fire.
because it sprayed the header really good.
And you're lucky also it didn't get under the slicks, because you would have had one of them oh shit moments.
Oh yeah,
That thing would
I
have went
never
for
once lost control of the car,
Yeah, you would have went for a ride.
but I also let it go straight still for a good, I don't
Yeah.
know, 10, 20
Yeah,
feet.
I oiled the track down like 100 feet.
Oh, whatever. I was already
He's
at
out
the
there.
end.
Oh, I wonder why my engine quit running.
Yeah, I was like, if I can't race, no one can race.
Yeah. Don't say that. You'll get killed. You're a dead man
I
walking.
didn't do that. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to lose control of the car.
Yeah, and that's what you should do. That's more important than not oiling the track down. But you don't want to oil it down any more than you have to.
know. And I pulled over as quickly as I could.
Yep. So.
And
yeah.
thankfully for me, it was towards the end of the track.
No, it wasn't. It was about the 8th mile mark.
Well, that's when it blew, yeah.
Yeah, and that's
But
about where it was when that. Because
I passed-
my golf cart loses speed as it goes, as you go further
Yeah,
down
but
the road.
I made a killer pass. I think I went like 18 seconds at 25 mile an hour.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I
I
don't even
passed the
know.
beams.
I think that was me coming with the golf cart.
Oh.
That's all the faster that golf cart is. It went 25 mile an hour. So I was coming the other direction whenever you
Yeah.
failed. And I was trying to get down to you, and they chased me off the track. They
Yeah.
said, you're not allowed out of here.
Yeah, which is ridiculous.
Exactly. That's my son. I'm coming out.
But yeah, so, I mean, so we got to put an oil gauge, battery gauge, oil temp gauge, a water temp gauge.
Well, we're going to
move the
upgrade all our
tack.
gauges to 2 5/8 instead
Oh,
of
yeah,
little
big
2
time.
1/16. They're too hard to read. And then we're going to move that tack. We're going to, if we build a dash, we'll put it in the dash. That way you can see it.
Well, is there a way that we can change that steering column then?
You could.
Make it a tilt?
Mm-hmm.
Or the minimum, it's not really for me to get in and out. It's a pain in the butt to get in and out, don't get me
yeah.
wrong, but if we had tilt, then I can move the steering wheel down a little bit. I can see the dash better.
You know, I'm trying to think. I think it was a Chrysler. They had a steering column that swings out of the way.
Yep. I'm more concerned about seeing the tack. I just want to put the tack where I can see it.
All right.
Because my hand, and I was reading another guy's comment, he made a good point to put my hand at 10 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So
They
that
had a
way-
couple good pointers
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, and I appreciate it.
Yep. That's why we do this. This is why it's called bench racing. We're here to help each other out.
It's going to make me probably mess up more because now I have a million thoughts going through my head, but
No, that's okay. It'll become, after you do it a bunch of times, it becomes repetitious. The biggest thing is you got to know where all your kill switches are, because if you were
Yep.
on fire,
Yep.
you want to kill your power and you want to kill your fuel pump right away.
right.
So,
And I killed that when I was sitting inside of the car. I killed everything, but it's still, if I was on fire, you want to kill the electrical too.
yeah, oh yeah, yep. If you hit the main power, everything go
Right.
off. So you only have one switch to kill.
Right, and the only way I could do that is I had to get out of the car and do it.
Yeah.
So,
right.
and
right.
you know, the safety crew at Norwalk was very, very quick.
All right. Yeah. If you were on fire, you'd have been in trouble.
Oh, I was undressed by the time they got there.
Yeah.
I had my racing helmet off, my jacket off.
All
my
I know
pants
is
off.
I need a turbo for my golf cart because
Well,
that
yeah.
sumbitch is too slow. 25 mile an hour ain't fast enough.
Nah. But I do want to put a kill switch inside along with those gauges, and I want to make everything so it's easily accessible. And you know, but I have the capability to make all that stuff. So
Right. So we're gonna make.
we need new switches with lights. That way we know what's on and what's off.
Right. And we'll put all that in that dash we make.
Yep.
So yeah, that'll be nice. So we'll make that car really nice on the inside.
And I don't know if we need to get an electric shifter or an air shifter yet. I think if we just get used to my driving style, that
Well,
we'll make it work.
The more you drive the car, the better you'll get at it. So I ain't concerned about that. I mean, if you want to have something shift automatically, that's cool, but it's more consistent. But
It is.
you know,
I
it's
want to go rounds eventually.
all right.
So
You got to start working on that damn light. Quit
Well,
sleeping.
I need to get used to the trans brake.
Yeah, that too.
I love the trans brake, don't get me wrong, but I've only used it 3 times.
So any of you guys ever seen or used a bump box for the tranny brake? That's a pretty cool idea. I see it mostly on turbo cars, not so much NA cars like we have, but
It's
still
starting
probably
to
wasn't a bad
it's,
idea.
It's becoming more popular with everyone now, though.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because
so,
you know, you see it on Street Outlaws, so everyone has to do it. It's like watching
yeah.
Fast and Furious. Everyone had
Right.
to go get a Honda with a B16 Spooner engine.
right.
George says he has one.
Does he?
Yep.
Okay. And how does it work, George? Is it so you set your tranny brake and then you have another button you bump, or
Yep.
what? How is that?
So I was looking into that,
Okay.
and it's a solenoid switch.
Okay.
And so you hold your trans brake down, and then when you have it floored and everything, you just hit that and it just goes, and just temporarily, I don't know how it works. I just
So-
seen how you wire it, and
So it must momentarily take away reverse and let the car move forward.
right,
And
or
it
something.
just bump that
Yeah.
switch. Yeah.
And GTO George says yes.
Okay.
But I learned how to wire it,
Mm-hmm.
and I learned what it was. It's just a little box,
Okay.
and
So that's simple enough to install, and they're probably not expensive, so we're definitely going to do that.
yeah, I don't
'Cause
know
then-
how much they are, but
Because we got to win with this thing. You
Oh,
know
yeah.
what? Your Uncle Paul's a hell of a driver. We won a lot. We
Yeah.
were always in the semifinals.
oh
Whatever
no,
you guys were just talking about, George Nicky says he has one.
Yeah.
You say, yes, I have one. I came here because of the fan.
Oh, okay.
but no, I think honestly, once I get used to that, even we can stage the car consistently.
Right. Right. That's the key.
GTO George says he only uses it on a Pro Tree.
Ah. Yeah. So it's just something you'll have to get used to.
But I mean, even with me, I got to get used to the brakes on that car. We need to look at the brakes, just to make sure that they're still decent. Because they seem like whenever I pushed the pedal down as hard as I could, it still seemed like it wanted to just slide forwards ever so gently. So I don't know if it's I do know the brake fluid needs changed. It's
Okay.
black.
All right.
But
Well, that's winter project, you know,
Yep.
or if you and Jason get the engine done, we'll have to take care of that before we go back to the track. But
right.
yeah.
But I just gotta learn how to get it into the first bulb where I want it to be at, so that way I can barely get into the second bulb.
Right.
Then when I hit the trans brake, I
It'll
gotta
roll
learn.
in
I gotta
solid.
learn how it reacts with the brake pedal,
Yep.
because I did notice that if I let it off slow, it didn't move.
Oh.
If I let it off fast, it goes forward just a little bit.
Okay. That's
So,
weird. I don't know why that would be, but okay.
I think because I was still holding the car back whenever I was full throttle.
it's
with the-
timing things. You and your button.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, we'll get it figured out. I've never used a tranny brake. That's you and Uncle Paul's the only one got to try that, so that has to be fun.
Oh, it is fun. Feeling that car lunge like that is like, it's like being if you ever rode a ride at Cedar Point where you're sitting at like the Tower of Doom or whatever, and then you're sitting at the top,
And then
all
they
of a
drop
sudden it just goes poof. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, that's cool. That I was watching that video you posted of the car going down the track with you in it, of course, and the it looked like I couldn't tell because your hand's in the way.
Yep.
But judging by the numbers on the tach, it looks like our stall converter is about right. It's about 5,500. Looks
Okay.
like. So, or it's right around 5,000 maybe.
And I want to say it's around 5,000.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, I'm glad that I had that camera shot because that's
Yep.
what I see.
Right.
When I'm looking at the RPM gauge, I'm like this, trying to look. And
Well,
trying to
I
go-
told you got to duck, not low this.
Well, when it gets above 5,000 RPM, I have to look over top of it. If I look down, I have to go like
Perfect.
this.
You just got to move your noggin around a little bit. And you know what? The car pulls the front wheels in the air, so it pulls right up where you needed to see it.
Well, I go with the car though.
Oh. Oh yeah, and then there's that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, but yeah, we got.
So GTO George says he leaves at 3,200.
Yeah, he's got a blower though, so he flashes
Oh,
converter
okay.
hard. Yeah. Yep.
What do you think we need to launch at? 4?
Well, you're leaving it look like somewhere around 3.
Oh, we're leaving at 3.
Yeah, 3,500, but we won't know. That's what we got to play with. We're
The
going to
chip-
leave where the car
chip
likes
said
it.
3,300. But if it was at 3,
George says he leaves at 3,200.
Yeah.
but if we leave it 3,300, it didn't look like it whenever because I can see the tach on the very bottom,
Yeah.
and it looked like it was at 3.
Yeah. We didn't.
My car sucks.
Who said that?
GTO George.
Oh. George. Car does not suck. That's a badass hot rod. It just sucks it broke.
Yeah.
That sucks. Because trust me, we're in the same boat.
Yep.
So we get it. But yeah, so we have any questions on connecting rods before we get too far off topic here?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
I think John Monin asked earlier if I can find it real quick here. It was at the very beginning. Hanging out in John Monin's in Cleveland tonight.
Ooh. Marshall's in Virginia. He's watching from a hotel room.
Okay. Let's see here. Where is it at? I'm pretty sure it's John Monin. So, but anyways, I just know what they said. They said, "Do you prefer length or girth?"
Well, girth. You got to have a thick enough one so it don't break.
Amen to that.
The only good thing about length is the angularity. It doesn't have as much side load.
Yeah, you gotta have that. Phil III said he's still stuck in Florida.
Poor guy. I bet it's hot down there. It's 90 here, so it's got to be 110 down there.
Right?
At least he isn't part of that tsunami. Unless
Yeah, that's true.
You know what? Hey, that's Japan and Hawaii look like they're going to get
And the coast
hit.
of California.
Yeah. So everybody's freaking out, and I don't blame them.
Yeah. Yeah, especially if you're not at high land. When
Yeah.
water comes in that fast, there's nothing you can do.
No. No, it's a tidal wave.
Yep.
And you can't wait till it's coming and you
No.
see it. You got to be gone before that.
Yep. John Mon's dad's heart surgery was delayed until tomorrow.
So that's why he's in Cleveland, probably the
Yep.
Cleveland Clinic.
I will say Cleveland Clinic's probably the best
Yep.
in the United States, if not.
Yeah, they have
The
some of the
whole
best
world.
doctors in the world. Yep. So that's good. He's at the right place.
Yep.
But
See,
yeah.
that time it was 20 minutes before we get buffering.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah, the Starlink
I think it's my
rebooted
wife
itself.
walking back and
Starlink
forth.
rebooted itself when we unplugged it. Now we're pinging it 99% again.
So we're back to good.
Yeah,
So
it's
plug-
a lot better than it was.
Should have
yes.
plugged it in earlier, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yep.
Got it.
Well, I thought that was a 100-foot
Yeah.
Ethernet cord.
Yeah.
It's 25-foot.
Oh.
So
Well,
we
why?
had to take the router out of the camper and bring it outside.
How in the world did you think it was 100 foot?
Well, because I threw it in the box and it was at the bottom.
Oh.
And I threw it in there like last year.
And just forgot about
And
it.
I just forgot about it.
Yeah.
And I knew it was down there, but I never pulled it out because I was like, we're always close by to a router
Right.
box or we're doing Wi-Fi. So.
Right.
And then when I pull it out, I go, this is what you got to work with. So. So we got Angela Calabos, which I think is the Larry O.
That's there you go.
And he asked, does anyone run Oil Extreme in their engines?
I've never used it, but we might have a viewer on here that does. I've never been a big oil additive person. I always called it a mechanic in a can, and I'm sure that a lot of people call it that, but it's, you know, if everything's right, you really shouldn't need to put oil stabilizer or anything in it. Although I have to admit, Lucas Oil Stabilizer is awesome stuff, and it does help, and it probably would help if your engine oil's running hot, you know, so, because Joe Bass, that's what he did. Put that Lucas oil treatment in, and his oil pressure stabilized then.
Okay.
Yeah, so it definitely
Did you see
worked.
the oil pressure on that video, by the way?
Yeah, you're good.
Well, it stayed steady whenever I got on. Well, it still fluctuated a little bit when I got on it, but yeah, idle. That thing's going.
Yeah. Well, like I said, a good way to check, see if you have a rod bearing problem or not, is bring the engine RPM up 2,000, 2,500, but you got to have the big oil pressure gauge line, not an 1/8 inch, which I think is what we have on ours. You need the 1/4 inch copper tube on there, or a number 4 AN steel braided hose on it, or is it number 4 or number 3? Anyways, you have to have the bigger tube on it. And if you bring it up to 2,000 RPM and hold it there, watch your oil pressure gauge. If you got a bad rod bearing, that thing's going to go like this. It'll fluctuate a little bit. That's normal. But if it's moving back and forth like 10, 15 PSI, you got a bad rod bearing.
And then Perry wants to know, do you handle L19 bolts, and how do you store them up until assembly?
Well, you know, I've ran them in several of our engines the last probably 5, 6 years. And after all that I've learned about that rod bolt, I am not going to use that bolt anymore. They're expensive, and they're too temperamental. On Facebook, there's a guy on there, he goes by NA Racer, I think it is. I don't know where he's seen this information at, but he claims that, or he said what he's seen was that the L19 bolts are very susceptible to hydrocarbons. So like brake cleaner, carb cleaner, any kind of a cleaner, it actually will impede the bolt and cause it to fracture. And the other thing is, too, you're not supposed to handle them with bare fingers or get your skin oil in them, because that can make them fracture. So you have to wear gloves when you assemble the parts, and you also have to make sure that you use the proper lubricants for the torque and all that kind of stuff. And then your sockets have to be clean. And to me, it's not worth the grief. Because the bolt is not like extraordinary. It's not like, oh my God, this thing's so much better than a 2000 series bolt. It's marginally better tensile strength wise, I think. I think it has a higher tensile strength than the 2000 series. But if you got a rod bolt that's that temperamental, what if you get a hydrocarbon in the oil, or you get alcohol in your oil, or you get I mean, who knows? You're setting yourself up with a time bomb. You just pulled the pin on it, and you don't know when it's going to go off.
Yep.
So I'm not ever going to run L19 bolts again. I know that they used to run them in top fuel cars, but I think they quit using them in top fuel now. I think they use, and John Dornbush and a couple others brought this up, there's a new material that ARP has out. It's called CA625. But you know what? Get your wallet out, guys. Anything that is good and is going to make your engine better is going to cost you more money. And so, just know that if you say, hey, Don, you know what? I want a Molnar power adder rod, and I want the CA625 rod bolts in it. You're going to spend, the rod bolts are going to be $48 a piece. So what is that? Yeah. So we'll say $50 just to round it off. That's $500 and $800 just in rod bolts.
Yeah.
Just in rod bolts is $800. So your connecting rods just went from $700-800 to $1,500-1,600 just by putting that bolt in it.
Well, I mean, Walt does have a good point. He was eating pizza. He had a piece of pizza in one hand and LM19 in the other, and assembling, and it was okay until the boost ate the head gasket.
Yeah. Well,
So
it's probably because Walt thought it was a piece of pizza. He was eating the head gasket.
carbon in the oil means bad PCV. It could mean that.
It could. You know, there's a lot of things. It
yeah.
could be too rich of a fuel mixture. Could be misfire in the engine. It's contaminating the oil from the misfire. There's a lot of reasons to do that. PCV valve is positive crankcase ventilation. And what that's for is because in the old days, they used to have a down tube. And that down tube, because of the crankcase pressure, would push oil down that tube. That's why they called it a down tube, and it would dump out right next to the transmission underneath the car. And that's why the roads are all oily all the time, you know. So, but then somebody come up with the idea that, hey, you know what? It's a hydrocarbon that's being processed in that combustion chamber or in the crankcase. We put a little valve thingy in there and hook it to the carburetor, so it's sucking that out of the crankcase all the time. Then we don't have to worry about a down tube anymore. Just got to make sure you got a good breather on the valve cover.
And we have some positive crank pressure with our race engine.
We do?
We did. It
Why?
was shooting the oil straight out of the dipstick tube.
Yeah, no, that's normal. On a Pontiac, that's normal. But I thought you were talking about the 2 holes in the side of the pan. Yeah, we shot oil out.
Yeah, that too.
We had a serious down tube. You made your own.
And Frankie Stein says, "Well, Don, as long as you've been building engines and drag racing, if by that one out and you figured out you need an oil temperature gauge added to the program, it will be a learned cheap lesson."
Absolutely. We lucked out big time, guys. I tell you what, our engine the failure could have been way, way, way worse.
Oh yeah.
And fortunately, it did not hurt the block.
Nope.
Or if it did, it's very minimal.
Yep.
So we should, as long as that cylinder's not all beat up inside on the top side. I felt up in there, but I didn't look.
I didn't feel anything either because I felt up in there too.
But as long as that cylinder's good, and even if that cylinder's nicked up, we can sleeve it.
Right.
So if we only have to sleeve one cylinder, and I've already got a crank grinder or a crank welder lined up so we can get the crank welded and get it ground again. Joe Bass is generous enough to give us a couple of connecting rods.
Yep.
And so as long as the piston's okay, which I don't know if it will be or not, we'll find out when we get it out.
Well, I know the bottom of it was dinged.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, if it's just dinged and
But I
it's
think
not,
we can straighten it out because it's on the bottom of the skirt.
okay. As long as it didn't hurt the piston or the wrist pin bosses, we'll be all right.
Oh yeah, I don't think it did anything inside there. It was
Okay.
mostly on the when you looked in at so if you were facing the crankshaft, the bottom side of the cylinder where that nick is at.
Mm-hmm.
I think it hit it hit like the inside of the piston skirt, but mostly on the bottom.
It might have knocked that out, so we'll see. We'll see. If we have to buy a piston, we got to buy a piston. So what?
Yeah.
You know, it is what it is. But
Definitely need a new rod because the Bluetooth rod does not work very well.
yeah, that wireless rod. Maybe someday they'll have a, you know what?
Yeah.
You never know. With
The
all this
piston will move on
magnetic
its own,
and all these cool ideas they're coming out with now. So, but yeah, that crazy stuff. But we were lucky; we didn't actually hurt the engine worse than what it is. I'm real worried about my cylinder head. I got a lot of time in those heads, and they're kind of like a part of the family. I've had them things since like the early '80s. So
Yeah, I honestly don't think any damage is done from that. I will say, I don't know how water would have gotten inside of the, what is it, evens on the driver's side? 2, 4, 6, 8, right? Driver's side's even,
driver's side's odd.
driver's side's odd. So the number 7 had water shoot out whenever I was turning the engine over to get the rocker arms off.
Yeah.
It shot water out. Now, again, I don't know if It shouldn't have, because I just took the spark plugs out. So it probably, because we put that stuff in to seal the heads up, it probably just had a little bit of leakage. It seeped out from sitting.
Well, that's more than a little bit.
Well, it wasn't a lot of water.
Oh.
It wasn't like I couldn't even fill up but maybe this much of the water.
That's a lot of water. So hopefully it didn't hurt the head.
So
Yeah, we'll find
that
out.
wasn't even that wasn't even the cylinder.
I
light.
know it wasn't, but that stuff, when you said you seen something in that port, that
Right.
stuff will go and all. I don't know how it happens. It just goes through the whole engine whenever something like that breaks.
Well, you also
It-
got to remember
it
too, that
amazes
might
me.
have been the one where I still felt the water coming out when we were putting the engine in. Because when I put my fingers up in there to, I forget what I was doing with the engine now, but I
Well,
was,
one of the end exhaust ports, what happened was I had a guy that drilled to take the freeze plug out of my head.
oh,
And he drilled through the freeze plug okay, so
And
you
he
put a
kept
slide
drilling?
hammer on. Yeah, he just kept going and drilled right into the exhaust port. So I had it welded up, but it still leaked, and I'm wondering
Okay.
if that's what
That could very well
that's
be
where
it
it's
then.
coming from.
because it's just that, it was just that one.
Yeah, and if the exhaust valve is open and it's leaking there, that's why I wanted to put sealer in it so we
Right.
could seal that up.
Right.
So, but we'll see. We'll get them off. We'll pressure test them, make sure they're okay. It is what it is.
Yep.
We'll deal with it.
Well, like I said, I don't think anything majorly other than we might have to look at the valve boss journal, whatever you want to call it, where the valve rides in the sleeve.
The guide.
Yeah, guide. That's
Yeah.
it. We might have to check that out because we bent that valve just to
Yeah.
make sure it didn't.
Oh, we will.
But other than that, I don't think there's anything wrong with them.
Yeah, I hope not. I hope not.
You seen the picture of that? I found some of the bearing finally. It was literally sitting on top of that where I took the picture at. and
Yeah.
sent to you. That's where I found it at.
Which is weird because we rolled the engine over and then you rolled it back.
Yeah, so I don't know if it landed there from us rolling around.
Right.
It might have been sitting down by the lifters. I don't know, but
Right.
and it was when I found it, it was sitting on top of the structure.
Yeah, sitting on that little support for the lifter
Yeah.
board. Yeah. That was kind of bizarre. I didn't know what that was. It looked like a turd laying there.
Yeah, well, yeah. It was the only reason why, because it was black. But I just figured that was black because of all the crap that it went through. But the only reason why I knew it was bearing is because there was a piece that was folded up and it was gold.
Oh, yep. Yeah, it didn't take long to self-destruct. That thing, it kind of happened
went
really
quick.
fast. Yeah.
It went real quick.
Yeah.
And it shut itself off quick.
Yeah.
Like I said, it sounded like it backfired. And when it did, I let off the gas and I looked right at the tank and it was reading 0. So I was like, boom. I was hitting the kill switch. And I was like, what the hell? And then I look and I was just seeing all that smoke. And I was like, that's not cool.
That ain't good at all.
Frankie Stein says, your dad's a professional engine builder. How about he just build your engine that you can't tear up, Braden? But just a little
That's
bit
impossible.
but just a little bit of mistakes wouldn't be much more fun. Well, yeah. I told my dad I am a very good tester.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's tested my patience since he was like a year old.
Yep. So if you need an
And-
engine tester, I'm your guy. I ain't scared.
I know. Mark Marshall just messaged me and he said, yeah, we got to fix that hood. That thing looks like it's getting ready to fly off the car.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that made my butthole pucker the first time. The very first run I did, I wasn't going fast enough,
Yeah.
so it didn't make the hood come up. It just went like this a little bit. I was like,
Right.
okay. Second pass I did, it went up a little bit, parachute just a little bit. I was like, oh, it's still nothing to worry about. And then that third run, which is one that we no, actually it wasn't the one we recorded. The third run, I got a full pass in, and that thing went. Boom. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, we got to fix that.
And
So-
then I came back and I told you, and you're like, well, Joe raced with it like that for years. That's fine. All right. I'm just
Well, I
letting you
can't-
know so that way when we see it fly off at the end of the track, you can't yell at me.
Oh, yeah, that was pretty bizarre. What's it coming up about that far?
You know, it's enough to where I can see the carb.
Yeah, that's not good. That is not good. And that's slowing us down too, damn it.
Yeah.
Because the hood scoop ain't doing anything.
No.
Except for blowing off the windshield.
Yeah. Yeah, Yeah, because whenever I was driving, I can look down and I go, oh, well, there's the carburetor. All right.
Well, that's so you can see if it backfires or
Oh,
not.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, you know, Joe was just thinking of you.
Yep.
But yeah,
So-
we'll fix that too. We got lots of things we're going to
Yep.
fix. I mean, there's...
And that's the thing, again. We didn't know what we didn't know about the car.
No, that's the first time we had it to the track.
Yep. So, I mean, I didn't even know if, I mean, I had no reason to worry about it, but you just don't know. You have to shake down the car.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
I wanted to make sure the transmission was going to even shift.
And we done a lot of checking too. I mean, we
Yeah, oh,
checked
yeah.
to make sure the brakes were okay.
Yep.
We checked all the torque on the lug bolts. We actually rewired part of the car.
Yep.
'cause
And
it-
we went and checked every nut and bolt on it.
Yep, we checked all the suspension nuts and bolts. I mean, so it's not like we just took it to the track and ran it.
No.
But we had, you know what? Hindsight's 20/20, of course, as usual. But you know, there's no fasteners next to the hood scoop back
No.
there, so you would, you know, you would common sense say,
Right.
I wonder if the hood will raise up
Right.
here.
Well, and not only that, if you look at the hood, it's actually remarkably almost flat.
Yeah,
Like it's never lifted up before in its life.
right.
I mean, I know it's fiberglass, but still, you would think it would have some kind of bow to it.
Yeah, you would think it would show
Or at
some kind
least-
of a gap or
at
something.
least see stress cracks on the outer Zeus fasteners.
right.
And you don't even see those.
No, you would have never guessed that thing did what it does.
No.
So we got, you know, we'll make a list, and then that's all kinds of stuff that you and Jason can fix, and you can do
Yep.
that while you're recording it, and the guys can watch you fix it.
Yep,
you know?
absolutely.
So
And by the way, guys, the GTO's coming along as well. The 67. And I got a really cool thing to show you guys. Someone left the actual
Protecto plate.
no, well that too, but the actual service they had on that car.
Yeah.
You know that car has. You know how many miles are on that car? Over 100,000.
Really?
Yep.
Huh. Well, it's a California car, so
Well,
it's,
it is actually sold in Ohio.
yeah, but it went to California.
Yeah, they must have drove it to California.
I don't know. I don't. Well, you
'Cause
got to
it-
remember that car's what, 50 years old, 60
well, yeah,
years
but
old.
you normally don't see that with those kind of cars,
What?
like a GTO. You don't see that many miles on it.
Oh yeah, typically you see 100,000.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean, the car's 60 years old, so.
but it's really cool, guys. The had all the service intervals on there. Went all the way down to when it had the water pump changed.
That's cool. That so it does have the protective plate. You know what that is? That little metal plate that's
Yep.
in the service manual.
Yep, it does. Yep,
Huh. Cool. That's a nice car.
it
That's
is a
really
very nice car. I don't know why it was sitting on the ground. It was sitting on the floor mat. So I put it
Interesting.
inside the glove
Well,
compartment.
we were looking for the keys for that thing at one time, so maybe somebody took it out of
Oh.
the glove box and threw it on the floor.
Yep. Yeah.
So.
It showed all the oil changes someone wrote in there from 1967, 71, so, you know.
So did you guys pull the engine out of it or something?
So the engine's ready to be pulled out. Jason and I will have to get on it next week because I just have to jack the car up, get the torque converter bolts off, the starter wires off, and then the back header bolts.
Well, I want to see what that engine looks like, see if it's cracked or not. If it's not cracked, and all it did is pop the freeze plugs out, then, and that engine is supposedly fresh. So
Okay.
I got to tear it down and
I
check
know
it.
someone did put some work into it. It has ARP head bolts.
Oh, I know, it's a nice engine.
Yeah.
Very nice engine. I don't know who did it, but it was
Yeah.
done years ago. I mean, like
Oh, I can
20-something
tell
years ago.
because the header bolts were rusted.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Well, cool.
So, yep, that will be coming up here soon. I don't know what Jason's schedule is, but I do know Jason's biting at the bit. He has something he wants to give me. So next week will probably end up being the.
I'm surprised he isn't here tonight.
Well, I told him not to come because I didn't know with everything we had going on here.
Yeah.
And
So this weekend is the Hall of Fame weekend here in North Canton, Ohio. And so every year they have tailgaters, and they all show up here. As a matter of fact, our campground's packed with these guys over here.
Yep.
And these guys are all Browns fans. I think it's Detroit and somebody else.
Detroit shooter shows up. We have sprinkled in a couple of
Yeah,
cheeseheads.
but who's playing? Is it Detroit and?
I don't know who's playing actually.
I think it's. I might be wrong. I don't remember now. But anyhow, I want to say the Chargers and.
It's whoever is going to be the biggest. Typically, it's the most famous inductee to the Hall of Fame. That team is going to be playing another team.
Okay.
And I don't even know who the inductees are for the Hall of Fame this year. So.
Los Angeles Chargers and the Detroit Lions.
Yep.
Yep,
So
Lions
okay.
and
So it was
Chargers.
Detroit Lions and the
Yep.
Chargers.
GTO George says Chargers.
Big
Drinking
giant,
buses.
big giant smokers and barbecue grills and.
What's really awesome is they make food for everybody in the campground.
Yeah, that is
and
cool.
free alcohol and food from
For
Thursday
everybody.
all the way till Saturday, Sunday morning actually.
So yeah, if you're in the area, stop out at Cuddy Sunset and check it out. These
Yep.
guys come every year for the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
It's like a
We
ritual.
got front row seats.
Yes, you do. It's right across from my son and daughter-in-law's campsite.
Yeah. Which ironically played basketball.
Huh.
It's buffer big time.
Yep.
Is it? Well, what time is it anyway?
It's time for us to get off.
Well,
anyway.
you know what? We can. Do we got any readers' rights you can share?
I can't hook up the.
You can't get to it. All right.
I just brought the basic setup. We'll do that next week.
All right. Well,
We'll double down on it.
yeah. So probably be back at his place again next week.
Yep.
And
And we'll show because I'll have the engine tore apart then.
Yep. So hopefully we get the heads off. I'll get them pressure tested, make sure they're okay, replace that valve, and I'm hoping that with any luck we might be able to get it together and get it out again this year before the summer's over.
We're gonna go 42 or Quaker.
Whatever. It doesn't matter to me. We just got to go somewhere we can do a little testing because I want to drive it the first couple times.
Ask Mom. She want her baby to be in a perfectly safe car.
Yes, and her baby is in a perfectly safe car. It's just
Well-
that he's got a heavy right foot.
Where do you think I learned it from?
Yeah.
All those years you yelled at me, why are you getting out of the gas, son? Why are you getting out of it? Well, this time I stayed in it. Now you know why I got out of it.
Yep. Yes, you did.
Yeah,
you
never
did.
got to worry about telling me, don't be afraid to go up to 8,000. 8? Why stop there?
No. If it's making power there, yeah, we'll take it to 8. But if it isn't making power, we shift it where it quits making power.
Barry just said, anybody want to buy L19 bolts?
Yeah, I got a whole handful of them. 2 handfuls of them, actually.
That's right. We'll sign them.
Yeah. You
You'll
know what?
degrade 'em.
You know what? Then maybe I can recoup some. Of them things are like $30 a piece. Maybe what I can do is we can sell those for to raise money for our YouTube channel.
There you go.
We'll sell them. I don't know, $10 a piece. That's 60%. Yeah, 66% off.
There you go.
And
Hey,
if you
guys.
want 2, I'll give you 2 too.
There you go. 2-2.
2 twos.